What's up, guys? Okay, so this is going to be kind of like a podcast because I don't want to make people stumble. Okay, I was getting all these clips ready for this video, right? And I caught myself yesterday kind of being entertained by Jimin. I was kind of like getting drawn in again, you know. And for me, the spell is broken with BTS. It's completely, there's nothing there. But I was thinking to myself, I don't want people to come to this video and just be sitting there watching Jimin for, I don't know how long this video goes for, you know, just say 30 minutes. I don't want people sitting there for 30 minutes watching Jimin and kind of getting drawn back in. That is terrible, you know, and I have to answer to the Lord, you know, and I'm like, no. So I'm sorry for the people that need mental stimulation for videos, but I think this is the best way to do these type of videos. When I go through other music videos, like when we're going through the symbolism and stuff, that's different. But to be sitting here, you know, watching Jimin for I don't know how long, I mean, it kind of looks like one of those fan-made videos, you know, and that's not what this is. So let's start. Jimin. A lot of people say that Jimin was born to be an idol, right? He was born for the stage, basically. And yes, he has a lot of talent. I don't want to take the talent away from these people because they do have talent. But MK Ultra intensifies that talent. MK Ultra turns the performer into a drug. MK Ultra concentrates on the audience's brain stimulus. So this is why you end up kind of getting obsessed with these artists. It's all got to do with psychology. It's psychological warfare, basically. It's a spiritual warfare as well. So absolutely, Jimin is one of the top K-pop dancers, in my opinion. He's up there with Taemin, Ten. To me, those three are the top, in my opinion, anyway. So talent, yes, he has a lot of talent. Now, in regards to MK Ultra, he has gone through the whole MK Ultra program. It's so obvious, and this is why, you know, he has kind of similar symptoms. You know, you can see his eyes, for example. If you look at Jimin's eyes, there are times where you can see the irregularities in his stare, in his pupils. That's all got to do with MK Ultra. I mean, there's countless photos out there if you look them up where you can see the difference in size of, you know, between both eyes. Of course, a lot of people have one eye bigger than the other, but I'm talking about MK Ultra, not just, you know, general public here. There is a big difference between both pupils at times. A lot of people say it's got to do with the contact lenses that they use, sometimes the colored contact lenses. No, I don't. It could be, but in my opinion, because it looks like BTS have gone through severe MK Ultra, I think it's got to do with the MK Ultra. So Jimin, everyone goes on about his duality, right? Most artists, if not all, have a duality to them. This is how it's set up. Again, it's to get you obsessed. It's to get you kind of intrigued into wanting to know more about this person. Jimin kind of has this shy, vulnerable side to him. You know, he's very shy and very gentle and soft. But then when he goes on stage, he turns into a monster. And you're like, what was that? You know, a lot of artists have this. And it becomes very endearing to the audience. Again, that's the way it's set up. In my opinion, Jimin is this, he's very aggressive, in my opinion. Like, from what I remember when I used to be obsessed with BTS, I've watched everything there is to watch about BTS. And he used to be very aggressive. He used to have a bad temper, and I think that those things don't just go away. So in my opinion, Jimin has a bad temper. He can be very aggressive, and he can be physically aggressive as well. Do I think the shy, vulnerable Jimin exists? I don't know. I think the aggressive Jimin exists. I think his temper exists. I think, you know, I think Jimin knows about psychology. I think he probably reads about psychology. And this is not a surprise. A lot of MK Ultra victims end up knowing a lot about psychology because you kind of want to understand what is going on in your head. So you kind of start reading on it and it's interesting, right? Now, a lot of people use this for evil. Once you start to understand that you have an effect on people, you can manipulate people, they do use it for evil. So it depends on the person, right? But for sure, as time goes by, you are aware of how you are able to manipulate people. You are aware of this. It's impossible not to be aware of it. You're not just this mindless robot doing things, you know, you are aware of what you are doing when you get older. If you're a woman, you know what buttons to push when it comes to men. And if you're a man, you know what buttons to push for a woman. Jimin knows exactly what buttons to push. Jimin knows what he's doing. He knows how to get you hooked on him. And some artists don't really have a grasp on that, you know, because a lot of artists are kind of always high, you know, they are always on some sort of substance, you know, they are trying to get away. So they're not really that kind of calculating. With Jimin, he is very aware of his effect on people, and it's got to do with unfamiliar spirits. Yes, he's attractive. Yes, he can be very sensual, but he has spirits leading him, of course, like most MK Ultra victims. For this reason, I think, you know, I used to wonder with Jimin, like, is he gay? What's going on with him? You know, he is just as manipulative and just as flirtatious with women as he is with men. Again, not surprising because most artists are perverted. I mean, you do end up becoming a pervert because of all the things you have to do and see and stuff, right? So the only hope anyone has is Jesus Christ. He's the only one that can deliver you from all this. You can go to as many self-help classes and read up on psychology, but you're not going to get there. Jesus is the only way. So this is why it's imperative for people to understand what these artists, you know, are doing. And of course we need to pray for them, but we need to understand that what you see on that screen is not real. Jimin, in my opinion, is bisexual. In my opinion, he's the type of person that would like to kind of experiment and just go with the flow. I think he does have a substance abuse. Again, this is just my opinion. I do think that he is susceptible to having a substance abuse. From what I've seen, he likes to drink. For me, Jimin is a cross between Tae and Cookie. He's a workaholic. He's a perfectionist. He really, you know, he's very hard on himself, but also he needs to be inspired by his work. If he has to do a job and he has no passion for that job, if his heart is not in it, then it's going to be really hard for him and he's just going to fall flat on his face. He is led by his heart, and I think Tae is the same way. Cookie is very clinical. He's very calculated. He gets the job done because that's what he has to do, period. You know, with Jimin, he has to feel inspired. And when you have to feel inspired, I was one of these people before I found, before Jesus revealed himself to me. And it's very hard to live like that because you're a slave to your heart, to your feelings. So if you wake up and you're just not feeling inspired, that day is just going to be terrible for you. And that kind of falls into the insecurity issues, right? In my opinion, Jimin is very insecure. He comes across as this very secure guy on stage. He's very, like I said, he's very sensual. He's very, you know, he just carries himself so confidently. I don't think that's really Jimin. J-Hope seems to have one of the lowest self-esteems when it comes to the whole group dynamics. Jin is also in there because Jin really, you know, Jin doesn't do anything. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's not his fault. It's the way it's been set up. How can you feel good about yourself when you just have one line? You know, when you just come on and just sing for a little bit. No, it really does work on your self-esteem, and he can't show his talents. You know, I'm pretty sure that Jin feels like he got the, you know, I don't know how you say it, but he's just, I don't think Jin is, he has the self-esteem that he shows, like this whole worldwide handsome type of stuff. No way. He wants to show people what he's got, and he can't, because this is the way it's been set up. So for me, I think Jimin, if he wakes up and he's in a bad mood and he feels like crap, I think in the insecurity side of things, he would surpass J-Hope and Jin. He would be like, he'll be sooking all day and kind of just wallowing in his own self-pity. I think he's very vain. I think he's always been vain right from the beginning. And this is going to be very hard for him when he gets older, because when you get older, you age, right? You get wrinkles, things change. I think that's going to be a big problem for Jimin. I think he needs to be always he needs to be busy. He needs to have projects. He needs to be inspired by the projects in his life. And if he's not inspired, he probably has a tendency to kind of just go and have a drink maybe, or, have a sniff of cocaine. I don't know, whatever substance he's into. He needs to be busy. If he's not the type that should be idle, because then he's going to be start to think really bad things about himself. I think he hates himself, and that's got to do with the handler. The handler is an abusive, disgusting, horrible, evil person, and he is, or she is, the reason why Jimin has such, problems with insecurity. What else? I think, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I can see Jimin thinking about suicide, and I can see him doing it. Tae is the same. I can see Tae doing it. I just, these people are so broken. And this is why I think with Jimin, he needs to stay busy. He needs to always be doing something. But how long will that work? How long is that going to go for? Like I said, you need Jesus Christ to be delivered, because that doesn't work either. You can keep yourself busy as much as you want, but sooner or later something's going to give. So self-esteem, terrible. He's probably dependent on some sort of substance. He needs to be inspired. He's an artist, yes, he's an artist. The MK Ultra intensifies that, but again, when you are an artist, sooner or later, it's going to swallow you whole. This is why, like I always say, without Jesus Christ, we have no hope. You can enjoy your career for whatever time you have, but sooner or later, you are going to start feeling spiritually empty. And this is when these people start to think, about taking their life. And this is when the devil comes in and starts telling you, you're worthless, you need to take your life. The devil, he's going to come and kind of rub it in, he's going to use all your insecurities against you. This is in general, it's not just for MK Ultra victims. So can you imagine if someone's been programmed to hate themselves? Can you imagine then, the devil coming in and saying, oh, you're worthless, you're a piece of crap, you need to just die. Can you imagine, so these people, this is why they often take their life. What else? He spaces out quite a lot, absolutely, just like Cookie. And this is due to the MK Ultra, of course, and also demonic influences. I didn't touch on this with the Cookie video because I want to make a separate video on this. But just quickly, with MK Ultra, usually you split. So you have DID, you dissociate, you have a habit and a talent to detach, and this happens when you space out. You can be detaching from yourself because you feel uncomfortable, so you go to this other place, some place where you feel comforted. And sometimes you can just space out because maybe the demons are kind of influencing you, and you are under demonic influence, you are under demonic oppression, and sometimes this can have an effect on you. And this is why some people also space out. With Cookie, I think it's 50-50. I think he does space out because he kind of goes somewhere else, and I think he likes to space out. And this happens a lot. Like a lot of people like to space out. You feel this warm feeling, and you feel like you are peeing yourself. When you pee the bed, like it's wrong, you're doing it anyway. Like when you're young, you just kind of like, you feel this warm feeling and it's wrong, but you do it. Well, that's how it feels like when you space out and you shouldn't do it. You're surrounded by people. You might be in a meeting, you might be at work or at school, but you're kind of like, it's that warm feeling, right? I know that was a very weird example, but that's all that I could think of. So in the group dynamics, I think Jimin has the ability to become whoever you want him to become. So he's that friend that is different with every friend, right? So you're hanging out with Jimin, and then another friend comes along, and he totally changes into someone else. That's who I think Jimin is. He has a lot of. He's like an onion. He has a lot of layers. He has a lot of personalities. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he knows the effect that he has on people, which can make him very manipulative. So I think he does admire Cookie. I do feel like he admires Cookie, and I think that he has taken on this carer role with Tae. I've noticed that in a lot of interviews, Tae will be sitting there kind of long-faced and sad sometimes, and then Jimin will be nudging him. Jimin is kind of always sitting next to Tae as well, and Jimin's always nudging him and going, smile, or, what's up? He kind of does that. Tae breaks down a lot while in concert, and it's heartbreaking. A lot of them do. It's not just Tae. But I notice that when Tae breaks down, most of the time, Cookie will come up to him and hug him and kind of cuddle him. Jimin will come up to Tae and hug him and stuff and comfort him. I remember when Tae was crying, when he was at the Hong Kong Mamas Award and he was dressed in black and red. Tae obviously had to do something that night. The color coding in that was crazy. He was crying all night. Something was wrong. For anyone to think that he was just crying because he's emotional, I mean, you're just living in a bubble. That is not normal. People don't do that. People don't just cry all night, This is how it works though. Jimin ignored Tae. He was looking at Tae. If you watch the video properly, he was looking at Tae. But you have to ignore in that situation, because what happens is the group dynamics is always going to get in trouble as well. If Tae had to do something that night, and if Cookie or Jimin went to comfort Tae, if they started comforting him, and mothering him, then Tae won't be able to do what he had to do. So in those instances, the group dynamics, the other members have to take on the kind of like the abuser type character. You have to kind of go cold, like grey rock, it's called in narcissistic abuse cases. You just ignore, right? You ignore Tae. He can cry. Just grow up, go do whatever you have to do, because otherwise we are all going to get in trouble. But I do see that Jimin has taken this carer role when it comes to Tae. In regards to the fan service, I don't believe in the Cookie and Jimin scenario. I do think that Jimin had a crush on Cookie. Like I said, I think Jimin is bisexual. I do think that he had a crush on Cookie at one stage, but I don't believe in the shipping. Look, if they are indeed Satanists, if they are indeed practicing Satanism, then I can guarantee you that they've all experienced some sort of hanky-panky, okay? This is just a fact. This is what happens in these scenarios. You do have to indulge in homosexuality. But I'm not going to go and start thinking about that and kind of analyzing who slept with who. All I'm going to say is, in my opinion, from what I've seen, I think Jimin has probably kissed Cookie. I think Tae has kind of probably experimented also. I think those three, I don't know, there's something really weird. Now, I'm not saying that that goes on a lot or anything like that. I'm just saying that maybe, after a few drinks, that type of stuff. I don't want to even think about what it is that they have to do, but we have to kind of keep it real, and, these things do happen. What else? Alcohol, self-esteem. He's very talented. I do think that he has a female demon leading him. When you are an MK Ultra victim with SIR, satanic ritual abuse, they do invoke spirits to kind of take over and make you even more special, and spectacular at your work. So, in this case, for example, Michael Jackson, I've been researching Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson definitely had demons assisting him, not taking away his talent, but, you can tell. Jimin is the same way. You can tell that there's a female in there, and it's not just about him being bisexual. I don't believe in homosexuality. I believe it's a conditioned thing. It's something that comes from the media and the devil, of course. I don't believe that you are born gay or anything. I think it's something that you just condition yourself, knowing or unknowingly. And so for me, when someone is acting the opposite gender, it's because you are being led by demons. You are under demonic oppression. So he definitely has a Jezebel spirit inside him. I do believe so. Especially, I watched the Filter performance, and I was like, I felt uncomfortable. I had to I wasn't able to watch the whole thing. He is completely and utterly possessed in that concert segment that he did, the Filter song. He's completely possessed. His eyes are just demonic in that. So if you've let me see how long this is going on for. Okay, 21 minutes. So if you've made it this far, the reason for these videos is just to pray for these people and to understand that whatever you see on the screen, whatever these people tell you, it's not the truth. Jimin, many people say, wow, he was born to be a performer. He's absolutely captivating when you're watching him, right? But believe me when I say this, he doesn't feel that about himself. He probably wants to kill himself many times over. He probably thinks that everyone's laughing at him. He hates himself. And this has got to do with the MK Ultra, so we have to try and pray for these people and try to get them delivered, but also we have to take care of ourselves. And this is why I didn't want to make this video and put images and clips in this, because I don't want to make you stumble. And it's important to start practicing that. It's important to kind of just say, okay, I want, if you are free indeed, kind of just turn away from these videos, try to kind of move on. A lot of, you have to understand there's a lot of satanic ritual that goes on with these people. So there's a lot of demons leading these people. There's a lot of magic, a lot of voodoo. In the last concert, Jimin had writing on his hands. That's a type of voodoo, okay? It's an incantation, and it's an old practice. And it's just like, for me, if I want to lose weight, for example, I'll just write, I want to lose weight, or whatever I want to write on the piece of paper, pin it up on the wall, pin it up on the fridge or whatever, and do some sort of candle magic, right? That's what I used to do, and that's what these people do. When you see them with tattoos, this is why the Lord says you shouldn't tattoo your body, because it is a form of pagan worship as well. It's not just about deforming the temple of God, because your body belongs to the Lord. It's not just about it's kind of like doing graffiti on your body. It also has spiritual attachment to it. So Jimin has a few tattoos as well. Never mind, he has the number 13. I think he was born into into this. So yes, he's very talented. I think he does come from a satanic bloodline. Yes, his birthday is the 13th of October, but that's how, who cares? You know what I mean? 13 is the number for the Cabal. It's a very important number. He has that tattooed on him. Never mind, he has that on somewhere around his body. Look, I hope I'm wrong, but Nevermind comes from, it's the title of Nirvana, one of the Nirvana albums. The lead singer from Nirvana committed suicide. So they say. And there's a link between Nirvana, Jonghyun from SHINee, and Cookie. Cookie also has a song from Nirvana, some of the lyrics tattooed on him. I mean, it's so concerning to me, because see, with MK Ultra and ritual abuse, they do use the same people over and over, and this is why you see all these people, all these artists, looking like Marilyn Monroe, right? And you see male artists also looking like Marilyn Monroe with the blonde hair and all that type of stuff, because it's the same demon. They are invoking the same demon, and this goes the same for kind kind of like suicide and all that type of stuff, whatever it is they're doing, they are going to be using the same. And I've seen a link with Nirvana and K-pop, and it's very concerning. Again, we need to pray for these people. So yeah, that's my take on this. I think Jimin was born into this. I think Jimin has an ability to be whoever you want him to be. He has many layers. He's like an onion, and he's very manipulative. Jimin knows exactly how to get what he wants. Not all artists have that ability. Some artists, like I said, some artists are just so high all the time because they don't want to deal with anything, that they can't deal with their brokenness, so they are always high on something. Then you have artists that kind of take advantage of the MK Ultra and turn it into something positive. I mean, it sounds horrible, but they do. They kind of like Cookie, right? They take it as a challenge. And with Jimin, I think he goes from being a workaholic to kind of being a broken mess. So he can be the golden child, but he can also be the weeping child. If I missed anything, put it in the comments, and I will kind of talk about it in the next video. Okay, guys, I love you guys. Take care of yourself. God bless you all, and please pray for these people, but also pray for yourself. Try to break away from these artists, because as much as as broken as they are also covered in witchcraft, and we don't want to be drawn to that. We want to break the spell, and the only one that can do that is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. Our Lord Jesus Christ is the only one that can just break that spell, and he is the only one that can deliver you. I would be dead right now if it wasn't for him. He is the only one that can deliver you from anything and everything. God bless you guys. Bye.